From our studios at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park, it's Okoboji Broadcast with Jeff Thee. Welcome to Okoboji Broadcast, everybody. I'm Jeff Thee, coming to you from our studios here at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park. I've got from the wrestling department at Okoboji High School, Nate Dau is here with us today. And Nate, first of all, thank you for coming and joining me.
Thanks for inviting me, Jeff. Appreciate it.
We, as we were chatting here, without ever met before, all of a sudden you threw out, well, I grew up in Algona.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was like, well, I grew up in Algona.
Yep.
So we got some coming from the same streams there,
Small
my friend.
Small world. I know. That's crazy.
And it's fun for me because, as you well know, wrestling in Algona is people fill the stands for football, basketball, whatever it may be.
Yep.
But wrestling, when I was there, was king. And my senior year, one state, Bill Fetlin was a coach then.
Yep.
So it's cool for me to learn that you went through the wrestling program at Algona as well.
I started, wrestling when I was a little younger, but it was one of those things, all my friends did it.
Yeah.
And so I went along with them, and I I had some incredible coaches when I was in high school. Pat Hamilton, Tuniki were, they're the reason I fell in love with the sport, and I always look forward to practice. Sometimes I didn't look forward to school, but I was during wrestling. I look forward to going there, and it was, I credit everything that they did for my passion of the sport of wrestling for sure.
Yeah, so you spent a lot of time down there in the wrestling room with the heat up to 120.
Yeah, and the no windows and a little depressing, but it was
and it always smelled good in there whenever I go in there.
It was great. Yep.
All right, so after Algona High, where'd you go from there?
I actually went to the Marine Corps after I graduated.
Okay.
I just, you talk to the recruiters and they tell you everything that you want to hear, and it's like, yeah, I'm that guy.
Okay.
I want to check it out. And so I was able to go to the Marines for 4 years. I wrestled for a couple of years out in Quantico, Virginia. Went to Simpson College right after that. Went into education, and I knew I wanted to be a teacher and a coach. I did, I was leaning towards history. I love history, and then physical education just kind of pulled me that direction. And with physical education and health, and then wrestling, obviously, and I'm also a track coach. But that's kind of it's gone fast. This is my 14th year at Okoboji. Wow. Most of the time I'm at the elementary, which is awesome. And I started at the high school, and then, like I said, coaching most of the year, and I'm just happy as all can be that we have a wrestling season right now.
Well, and before we go any further, thank you for your service as a Marine,
welcome.
And
you bet.
And certainly as a teacher. And you're kind of lucky to land only about 70 miles from hometown there too.
I remember, there's a lot of things when you're growing up, you remember where you're at when it happened. And I remember I was working with a buddy of mine doing construction. I looked in the paper. I was like, oh my gosh, Okoboji's got a position open. And he's like, what are you going to do for lunch? I said, I'm going to go home because I want to apply for this job. And and it was a lot of different reasons, but it was close to home, and I grew up, my grandpa would bring me up here all the time. We'd fish, and I knew the lake at that time better than anything else about this, and I got to know the school district, and the school's amazing. I mean, we have some phenomenal teachers, and I could not have been more fortunate to get a job up here.
Aren't we lucky to have the school systems we do?
All the schools around our area.
Yeah, we got base population of 17,000 people in Dickinson County. We got such great school systems and strong school systems. Teachers can be proud of, kids can be proud of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we wanted to talk about because, and like I say, coming from Algona and Iowa, wrestling is so huge. I didn't know much, and I just happened to see it in the paper of girls state wrestling and the number of girls from Okoboji going to state wrestling. I'm like, what am I missing here?
Yep. I know.
Tell me about the program.
It's been a crazy ride the last, really 2 years. Girls wrestling had been coming up, and I think a lot of coaches, and still a lot of coaches, just don't know how to approach it. Like, how, do we have them join with the boys practice? Do we have two separate? Is it like boys basketball and girls basketball?
Right.
And I think it's handled different ways, but I got to credit one of my girls, Kylan Green. She's a senior now. She's going to graduate. She sent me an email. One of those things. I knew where I was at when I got it. It's like just one of those things. It's cool. Like I looked at my email one night about 2 years ago, and it's like, hey, I can tell you exactly what it said too. It said, I'm interested in wrestling. Who do I need to talk to make that happen?
Oh, wow.
And I thought about it for a while. I was like, oh, wow, Okay. I mean, I knew Kylan, I knew her sister and her family, and I was like, okay, let me, I kind of talked to a couple of the coaches about it. I said, you know what, let's just have an informational meeting. I don't want a kid out of our district to look elsewhere. That's ridiculous.
Exactly.
So I had a meeting, and I think that first meeting in the FFA room, we had 12 girls show up. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's amazing.
And I was just, I mean, it was pure, I would love to take credit for it. But it was complete coincidence. We're sitting in there, I was like, this is, okay, we got something here.
Yeah. Now, did they come from wrestling lineage? Or
no.
Okay.
I take that back. Some of the girls have had brothers that have wrestled, and so they know the sport. They've been around it. But again, if she wouldn't have reached out to me and I wouldn't have said informational meeting, nobody would have asked. Nobody would have thought about it. And fast forward, we had 9 girls out this year. We had 8 girls out last year. And wrestling's an acquired taste. It is a lot of work for very little.
Yes, well as reward. I mean, it's a 24-hour commitment if you're cutting weight and so forth, and it's not something where you go to practice and you can go home and leave it behind you. It's coming home with you.
Exactly. Yep. And the girls that showed up, they came in and they scrapped, and I've talked about this with a couple other coaches. It's like a tornado with hands and feet and hair everywhere. And eventually, like a lot of kids that just start wrestling, they learn that there's a little bit of a pace to wrestling. You can't just go crazy. But, oh, man, it's awesome to watch them in the room get after it.
Well, what was the difference, because, there's so many junior programs, elementary programs for boys wrestling, and they're starting almost from the time they can crawl. They're learning to grab somebody by the legs. Did you have to go through basics to kind of get them up to speed?
Yeah, and we're kind of still learning with that. We get quite a few kids that try wrestling in high school and even middle school a little earlier. Right now, we got some kids coming up through the pipeline that will have wrestled when they were in kindergarten. Right. And so there you don't have to teach the basics. We have boys that try. We do a really good job recruiting with some of my assistants and kids. Sure. Well, we get kids that'll come out as freshmen and try it, and so there's a lot of basics you have to go, but a lot of it's like, we use the phrase, throw them in the fire. Yeah. And you figure it out one way or the other.
It's a sink or swim, baby.
Yeah. I was just going to say it. My grandpa pushed me in the water when I was young. I figured it out. But yeah, it's and they learn and they go, and there's other challenges with it, but they've progressed, and what's great. Looking off to the side of it now that after the girls' state tournament was completed, that was kind of the end of our season. We had one little tournament after that, but it was like that was a call. And every girls like, what do we do in the summer? What do we do in the spring? And it's like they're hounding about it, that's what you want.
Sure, they'd like to go to camps and that sort of stuff.
Hey,
sure.
Do we need to get some girls in here? What do we need? They're already recruiting. They worked the middle school meet last night. I mean, we have some hungry girls and it is awesome. Wow. Yeah, the growth is incredible too. If you look at the state tournament from last year to this year, the talent's significantly better, and the numbers are way up.
Well, I was looking at that, I was looking at that. I was spooking you on Facebook. Yep. 460 plus involved.
473, I think.
473. Okay.
Yep.
And that's incredible.
Oh yeah, and it's on the other end of that, you could like the boys state tournament, for instance, is a qualifying procedure. The girls state tournament. In a normal year, you would have to meet criteria. 5 wins, I think, so many matches. Right. And once it gets sanctioned, there will be a qualification process. So on one end of it, you can like Osage is a good example. I think they showed up with 18 girls.
Yeah.
They can score a lot of points that way.
That's incredible.
But it was awesome. On my end of things, I almost felt obligated, like, we need to, really push girls wrestling. We're going, and you just wanted to be a part of it. You know? And a lot of teams were when we went down there. I've never been in that Excel Energy Center. It's been in a high school. I mean, 3 years ago, I looked at the pictures. It was like 60 kids in a high school lined up. It just really depressing looking. And like this year's like, oh man, look at this. This is incredible. And there's some talent too. I mean, you're seeing. That's funny when you go down there. You said with wrestling lineage. We walked down there. I was like, I know that last name. I know that last. A lot of Lisbon, Osage. I mean, you hear these last names. But I know who your brother is.
Or dad, or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
How do you divide up the time, or are you coaching simultaneously? The girl? Okay.
Yeah, if we could divide, there's been a couple times where we have pulled the girls aside and taught specific things, but wrestling's one of those things. I've always thought of this. You want to throw about, over the course of a year, 100 things at kids and hope 5 of them stick.
Right.
And it's up to them to decide what 5 that is. What's their go-to shot? What kind of a wrestler they want to develop at. So mat time is huge for kids, and that's what we've done with the girls. We've had several instances where we give, we put 30 minutes on the clock, and you got to wrestle. We've had boys migrate over there, and they start going at it, and it's, there's part of me is like, trial by fire, and the other part of me is like, I have a daughter. So
right.
That's the other part of me, but it's been great. Our boys have really helped with it. Our other coaches have helped with it, and the girls, they show up every day. I mean, their attendance is incredible, and they're hungry, and they're always wanting to learn, and the emotions are different.
Yeah.
But it's I tell you what, it's probably been the greatest experience that I've had looking, we got kids in youth right now that are girls that are looking up to these girls. I know they don't think of it as high school kids. Sometimes you don't think of it like that.
Right.
But, now that I have a daughter, it's like, who knows if she's going to wrestle, by the way.
But the opportunity will be there.
Exactly.
Isn't it great that Okoboji is a leader in girls wrestling in the state of Iowa?
Yeah, it was, we've had a couple papers reach out to us, and, I got to give credit to Spencer, too, because, Spencer brought home the 4th place tournament. They didn't get the trophy, but they were placed 4th at the girls' state tournament, and Dave Storm really headed that up down there. And, he had a daughter, Paige, who was wrestling when I first started coaching, and she had to wrestle with the boys, and she was scrappy.
Yeah.
And now she runs a program, and it was awesome to see Northwest Iowa get rep down there like that. And you look on the other end of that, it's, wrestling, we tend to not compete too much with basketball.
Right.
On the other hand, we have as far as I'm concerned, a world-class girls basketball program at Okoboji.
Absolutely, you do.
I know these coaches. I know what they're about. The town knows what they're about, and I don't want to view that as like a competition, but you want girls
to dilute
are pulled
the pool.
that way.
Right?
Yeah. it's girls are pulled that way. They're the gold standard as far as I'm concerned, and I don't think we pull a lot of the same girls, but a lot of girls want to grow up to play Okoboji basketball, and that is great.
Absolutely.
We have another avenue, obviously, with that, so.
Another area to excel. Fantastic.
But
not sanctioned by the Iowa High School.
And I think there's 28 states in the United States that have girls sanctioned wrestling. Iowa does not. I think there's a lot that goes behind that a lot of people don't know about, and I don't either. Right. But at some point, I really, there's been a big push. IA Wrestle is one of the social media groups, podcasts that has really gotten popular in the Midwest with wrestling, and they have really pushed this thing. I got an old college roommate or a friend of mine that he helps with IA Wrestle, and they were there at girls wrestling. It's a big deal. They're pushing it. It's all over the place.
Well, you would think after a certain amount of time, when the numbers, when you talk about 471 being involved this year, those numbers keep spiking. More girls say, "I want to wrestle." Yeah, it's gonna be tough to ignore that 800-pound gorilla.
Exactly. Yeah, and we've always gone to boys tournaments over the years where there's a girl wrestling 106 or 113. And she's tough. I know in the brochure when I looked down there was 2 girls. One of the girls from South Winneshiek, another girl from AGWSR. These girls had a piece. 100 varsity wins over boys. And
so
these girls are competing against boys, and for the most part,
and
mauling them. And so and these girls, they've graduated now, but those are the type of kids, they go to college, get a scholarship to wrestle, and they come back and coach. And that you're going to see the evolution of this really start. And then you're going to see, Iowa go to Illinois, or Fargo wrestle freestyle. I'm glad this is a beginning. And I can't wait to see where this thing goes here in about 20 years.
It's cool that you're in the infancy of it as it's really excelling.
Yes, and I think it's made all of us a little bit. We've had to adapt, but I think it makes you a better coach.
I bet it does.
Having to go by the little things, and all the questions that come at you, and everybody loves somebody that's hungry to learn. It's just that's infectious. There's times where you don't leave the school for a while because you get a lot of questions coming at you. But
and all those eager to learn and different personalities, it makes you improve as a coach, because you're learning how to get them to excel more.
And it's all positives on our end. It's been great.
Wow. So, and how many went down to state again? How many girls?
We took 6 down. We had 9 on the team this year. We set a little criteria to be able to qualify there. Nothing too crazy, but we had a couple girls that couldn't go, but and a few that had to talk into it. It was a real good experience. I mean, we had a couple girls win some matches down there, and we had a couple that slipped away from us a little bit, but they did great.
They learned something.
I lost my voice probably an hour into that thing. It was bad.
What a great experience.
Oh yeah.
I was going to ask, what are the weight classes like? I know boys and.
They're similar to the boys, and I actually don't know off the top of my head. I think there's 11 or 12 of them, but it's about mirrors the boys all the way up to 170, and then it spreads out a little more.
Sure.
But I think we had a couple girls. We had a 20-pounder and a 38-pounder. There was 55 kids in those brackets. I mean, it was. You go down to the Iowa Boys State Tournament and you win 2 matches, you're on the stand. That's right. Down here, you got to win 5, 6 in one day just to get to the next day. So it was awesome. I mean, and we had the normal state officials down there. They had, it was intense. Yeah. I mean, it was it was so cool to watch these girls on the mat getting told back up by the officials because they are going crazy for their teammate.
They're hungry for it too.
Oh, it was
That's
awesome. It was cool.
Oh, God, I can't wait for next year. I would love to get down and watch the girls.
We got some little kids in our youth program right now. Alex Spooner's our youth coach, who's incredible. We have some of these, these little girls that are just cute as a button, like this little scrapper. And we're going to get those girls paired up with some of our high school girls just to come watch us, on the bench and just get them involved. And that seed will be planted. Exactly. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's, wrestling's a hard sell for people. I mean, you go to communities. Algona's a good one as an example. Lisbon, I mean, it's a blue-collar town, and it's hard to sell it. We have middle school, our middle school coach, Josh Pratt, he does a fantastic job recruiting, and I talk to a lot of parents sometimes like, I just don't get wrestling, and it's completely understandable. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a different beast as a sport. It is. You're seeing... I say this to a lot of different ways, but you are seeing a legal street fight that your kid's in that you can't do anything about. That's right. That's really what I mean. And it's sometimes you look at it like, is that legal? And it's crazy. But there's so much. Like I said, there's a lot of work for not little reward, but the reward is really a lifetime reward. Yeah. It is. I mean, the things that you can get out of wrestling. You won't meet somebody that's wrestled for 10 plus years of their life, even 5, I should say, that hasn't regretted it looking back. I mean, it makes you a different person. Yeah. I've said this to people before. I mean, the Marine Corps was interesting. It was awesome. I loved the experience. Right. I mean, I did stuff in wrestling that. Yeah. It was harder. I mean, that's just the way it was, and it's all a good experience, no matter how you look at it. Well, I'm just so interested to learn about the girls wrestling, but boys wrestling, we're not done here yet. No, this weekend. Yep, we got two boys going. Nick Bronstad, he's actually a Hartley kid, wrestles with us, and then Noah Strantz, who they both qualified last year also. Noah was 1 match away, and Nick qualified last year. They both got a shot. They look good. Sometimes it's hard going from like 20 kids to 2 kids, but you can kind of fine tune some little things. And it's a chess match this time of year. The mental aspect of things probably the most important. Yeah. And specific planning for a kid you're going to wrestle first round is super important also. Yeah. And it's everybody's nervous, everybody's emotional, but every year we go to sectionals or the postseason, it's like, I despise like right now, and then when it gets done, it's like, God, I love wrestling. Yeah. So that's Saturday where? Saturday at Humboldt. At Humboldt. Okay. Yep. All right. So home of the Wildcats. All right. Oh yeah, another conference team. They were always Humboldt's always got good kids over there. Absolutely. Yep. Well, wonderful, and best of luck going through sectionals. You bet. And hopefully have a chance to get some down to state. Or... Yep. They're running state just like normal. We weren't sure about a month ago, but they decided to do it just like normal. And we're like I said, we're excited to just have a season. When we started, I was like, this is not looking good, and we had kids buy in still, and so it's been great. And I love state being down where it is at Wells Fargo, but there was something about Vets Auditorium. I know. We talk about Vets all the time. when I graduated, I think we had 6 kids go down there, and it was one of those, it was like a chess match of looking like, okay, we're on mat 5. And everybody takes off running, and the only thing holding them back is a yellow rope. It's like, we talk about it. When I was in college, this is funny, I was in college at Simpson. We had quite a few kids that did security at Vets, and they ended up getting it at Wells.
Sure.
I'll never forget this. So I was there the last year it was at Vets. Whatever, I can't remember the exact year, but 2001 or whatever.
Yeah.
We were there, and I had a college friend of mine, his girlfriend, she was working security, and hey, we got to get these people out of here. This is Dan Gable. She went up to Dan and says, hey, sir, you got to leave. And like everybody's running at her like, stop. And he's very nice.
Yeah.
He just said, I'm just, reminiscing. And he like walked out, and I was like, oh my gosh, did that really just
Oh my
happen?
gosh. It's
Yeah, I know, but everybody's like Vets. It was a Wild West back then. Dingy, dark.
Oh yeah, the ruptured duck.
Yeah, the mats were, I love when those old matches pop on Facebook and you're like, it's just, there's something about Vets Memorial.
Yeah, there was something about that building.
I don't know what happened to the original award stand, but somebody's got it, and I'd love to see it sometime.
Yep. It'll pop up on eBay or somebody.
Mats,
All good stuff. Well, Nate, I appreciate you coming in, man.
You bet. And I love talking, so you have no problem getting me in here.
My favorite kind of guest.
Fishing, I'll do anything.
Outstanding. All right, my friend. Well, good luck this weekend.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
Thank you again for joining me.
You bet. Appreciate
it. Nate Dau here with us from Okoboji High School Wrestling Program. We want to thank him for joining us. We thank you for watching us right here on Okoboji Broadcast. Okoboji Broadcast from the studios at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park is brought to you by the Scott Troutman State Farm Agency in Spirit Lake, Pure Fishing in Spirit Lake, Last Touch Painting and Cleaning, providing interior, exterior, house painting, and professional cleaning services in Spirit Lake. Quest Wealth Management, a financial advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, advisor Jan Spielman, AJ Spielman, and Erica Wachholz. Ducky's Marine and Motorsports Repair in Spirit Lake. Bank Midwest, dream big, plan wisely, live well. Lakes Regional Healthcare and Avera Partner. Attorney Bethany Brands at Brands Law Office in Spirit Lake. Ruthven Locker at the Lake, where carnivores are welcome on Hill Avenue in Spirit Lake. Beck Engineering in Spirit Lake. Be Radiant Laser Skin Studio in the Okoboji Plaza in Okoboji. The YMCA of the Okobojis is the Bedell Family YMCA, building strong families and strong communities.